Live in Mortgage Loan Officer Network. Can you hear me, bud?
We got you.
Cool, cool. So today we wanted to jump in and talk a little bit about converting leads, about the type of leads that loan officers get, and how we can potentially partner with agents to create value and ways we can be more efficient with leads. Something like that, right, TJ?
Absolutely.
Cool, man.
Absolutely, man.
So I think this hangout actually comes from a lot of folks reaching out to more to you, but to you and I, and asking lots and lots of questions one on one. And we said, well, why don't we just make a video so that the folks who ask questions can come back and watch a
Right.
discussion back and forth about the theory behind it and what kind of leads seem to work the best to help you build strong relationships with your real estate agents, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you that's a great way to put it. We have these conversations, two or three or four times a day, it seems, whether it's on the phone or via Facebook or Messenger or text message or something like that. And we see a theme with the questions, right? It's always a very common theme with the questions. So we figured what we do is just, this isn't going to be super in depth. It's not going to be super in detail. We're not going to be like breaking down Facebook algorithms and what the super secret sauce is as far as your targeting goes. There is none. To get the highest quality lead and all that kind of crap. But we just want to kind of touch base with some of the general, like the FAQs of lead gen and lead follow up and what type of leads we think people should be working, right?
Right.
So kind of do this more as I think as a Q&A. So this will be
Right.
you're going to be the guy who calls me up and tries to grill me
Right.
with this, and I'm going to do my best to hopefully effectively answer your questions. And if I don't, well, screw you, fish. Don't join us. So, um,
So before we get to that point, I mean, a lot of the stuff that you're asking, it's the stuff that folks ask you when they reach out and ask about Loan Officer Leads Academy. They say, oh, I heard a few folks say this was good. I heard the leads are coming through. They're inexpensive, and okay, so I need more info. I need to know how you guys are doing, all that kind of stuff. So that's where a lot of this came from is just our conversations and our effort and desire to help the loan officer solve some of these problems. So one of the first questions that I always seem to get when I'm talking to people about Leads Academy or Loan Officer Acceleration or leads in general is kind of a linear question. And it's really simply, what's the ROI? How many of these are converting? How much do I have to spend? And how much do I spend and how much do I get exactly in dollars? So I know that's
Six
kind of
billion, $6 billion.
I know.
Yes.
That's a hard question to answer, but that's like the first question almost everybody asks.
So let's talk about that real quick. So first and foremost, hopefully most people have seen my kind of like truth about leads presentation at this point. The true cost of a lead and what you should expect from a conversion ratio and things like that. And whether it's Zillow leads or you're buying leads from somebody who's selling them for $30 to $50 per lead. Um, but the thing is, and this is a truth that you and I have learned just from doing this, right? Is everyone's going to have that different ROI because it's all about, a lead is a lead. I think it's best when we were on that the listing booster hangout with Frank Ray a week or two ago, right? He didn't necessarily even put these as leads. He called them, prospects, and then moved prospect into lead. I kind of look at it the other way. I see lead as kind of up here, and then the prospect is someone who's really who be interested in what our services are, kind of in the middle. I always call these high funnel leads, middle funnel leads, low funnel leads, type of thing. But it really is all about the type of lead that you run, what your intent is with the lead, and frankly, how hard you work them and how hard your follow up is. She's not. I don't think she's in MLO net, and she's certainly not part of Leads Academy or anything like that. But our former colleague at Hancock, Kim Ritchie, my understanding, she was closing 4 to 6 deals per month just off of the leads that Johnny and his team create for the Hancock loan officers and branches. And But you know what she did is she had her real estate agents trained. She had a schedule. They worked them hard. They strangled those freaking leads until those leads told them to pound sand. And after doing that for 3 to 6 months, now she consistently has 4 to 6 loans per month in her pipeline that are direct result from the leads. So that's always a hard question to answer because guess what? Your ROI on week 2 is not good.
No,
But if you consistently
it's like
work
negative.
the leads and you follow up, your ROI on month 4 could be freaking phenomenal. So, and are you doing just a listing booster lead? Are you doing a marketplace lead? Are you doing a long form VA lead or USDA lead? Are you running stuff to lead pops? There's so many variables with that. You can't answer that question. Are you like me, who uses automation for follow up because frankly I'm pretty bad at the follow up piece? Well, yeah, that helps me out, but that's not as good as an actual live person getting a hold of a lead and working that freaking lead. So many variables. I know that's not the answer to your question, Fish, but I think that is the answer. I think that's not the answer people want to hear, but that is the answer.
Right, and it's the question that always comes up is it's a linear style of thinking, which works if you run a call center and you work mortgage leads, and your goal is to convert just those mortgage leads, and you're looking for sources of people who specifically reach out because they want to do a mortgage in the next 30 to 45 days. So, I think what you and I are talking about right now is who are we working with when we generate these leads? Are we working with borrowers that want a mortgage in the next 30 to 45 days, or are they slightly farther out, or do they want to work with a real estate agent? I think I lost you, bud, so I'm just going to keep talking for 1 second. We'll see if we can get TJ back. Maybe I will dial him real quick here to make sure he's coming back. But I believe that is the part of the answer to that question is what types of leads are we actually working? And what TJ has done a really good job on in Leads Academy, and what I know Kim, who we just referenced, and the team at Hancock and a lot of you at different companies have found is that generating leads or folks who are interested in buying a home is a little bit easier than generating leads for people that are ready to do a mortgage in the next 30 to 45 days. So, that's why I lost you there, TJ. I was just explaining that the ROI is perhaps easier to calculate in a call center for people that reach out for a mortgage who are ready to pull the trigger in the next 30 or 45 days versus the type of leads that we've gotten good at generating and converting, which are actually more of a partnership lead in many cases with our real estate agents, but they can be, 60, 90, 120, almost a year out. And some MLOs don't necessarily want to work leads like that, and that's okay.
Real quick, Fish. So, last Friday we had this horrendous windstorm that came through, knocked out power, knocked out internet, all kinds of crazy shit. So my internet's still spotty from that. Comcast is supposed to be coming out and working on. They've got like the gerbil spinning the wheel right now, trying to power the internet around here. So I'm hoping we can get through this, but
worst case.
Yeah,
it's all good. So
all right. So let's real quick. Because I want to kind of push through this just in case I lose this again. I think you're 100% correct with the ROI. Let's get to the next question, which is typically what type of leads are there, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So ask the question.
Yeah, that was next on my list. I'm looking at my phone because I wrote them all down. It was exactly what kind of leads are inexpensive and are working right now as far as converting leads, with loans officers and agents. And are they luxury homes? Are they zero down homes? Are they $50,000 homes? So what kind of leads are we finding the best results in?
Right. So what we see, you and I, in Acceleration and Leads Academy, it's going to be the craziest, the best results we're getting right now are doing a little bit of a combination of targeting areas that have some type of sexy program to it, right? Whether it's going to be, we know there's a high veteran concentration, we know there's a high USDA area, we know that there's a great down payment assistance program, we know there's a great grant program, something like that, right? Combining that with, properties that are geared more towards the first-time home buyer. So that seems to be, I'm running that right now myself. I had to crank down my budget down to $2 a day on this one campaign right now. Let me see if I can, let me see if the internet will work for us here. Because, I liked proof, but we are running this right now. See if are you able to read that, Fish?
Yeah, it says 30 leads and 23 or 33 spent. Cost per lead 78 cents.
78 cents per lead.
Yeah.
Right there. So that's awesome, right? That's so, but that's not, we're not saying get these, $750,000 luxury homes because we're trying to make a killing off that one deal. That seems to be honestly our lowest cost lead right there. And we're having great contact rates, but we're combining that with working with our real estate agents as well, because are these people, even though we're talking about the potential for USDA financing with this, they're still interested in looking at properties that qualify for USDA financing, right?
Right.
So when I call up and say, hey, it's TJ Barker, can I have your social security number, your date of birth, and your W-2, how well do they respond to that?
Right. Yeah, and that's I previewed that a little bit when you cut out there. It's
Right.
It's the mortgage lead versus the property lead. It's a little easier to get started with the property lead. The biggest challenge I find, and it kind of leads to the next question, is if somebody reaches out for information on a property, should they be talking to a loan officer? And I know we've answered this in previous Hangouts, but that kind of comes down to how should you best convert these leads or hand them out or partner with agents on them? That's kind of the next question.
To me, I different people, different strokes for different folks, right? Our good buddy Stephen Roberts, he does this, and he almost uses them, as a way to leverage new relationships. Like he's like, hey, I got a kick-ass lead in this town. Who wants it? And he's got agents like, I want it.
It's like he's throwing out $50 TVs on Black Friday at the Walmart.
Right, they're going insane for it. They're like, give me the goddamn lead. Nice, man. But that being said, Stephen also just did a lunch and learn with like 10 agents yesterday. So good for him. And he's new to the industry, 3 or 4 months in the industry, and look at that, he's meeting with more agents a week than most people do in a month. I like to split the cost with the agent. Like that's the whole point of Zillow Killer. Thank you, Chad Prio. Look, we've always been very transparent around here, right, Fish? We are the two most unoriginal guys on the planet. Zillow Killer was Chad Prio, hashtagging that. We initially called this the Zillow strategy. Everyone else called it Zillow Killer, and it just kind of stuck. So we shortened it to ZK though, so we're not completely stealing from Chad. I like to split. The reason we call it Zillow Killer is because we're splitting the cost with the agent. So now all of a sudden we've got a 40-cent lead that we're asking the agent to work right there versus a $100 lead or $70 lead that they're doing with Zillow.
Right. Yeah, I just met with an agent yesterday who was talking about his Realtor.com leads from the previous year, and he spent like $6,000 and converted, I believe it was 6 deals, so it was about $1,000 a deal. But when he did the math, it was like a 6 or 7% conversion. I said, well, even if I had a 2% conversion, if I gave you, we did the math, it was 5 times the number of leads.
Right.
Would it be worth it if we can automate your follow-up a little bit? He's like, I have plenty of time to follow up. That's not my problem. My problem is I need more opportunities. I'm like, well, you could maybe spend more money at Realtor.com and triple your budget there if you want. He's like, no, I get where you're going with this, Mike. But
Keith just told me about that. He spent $1 on a lead or $2 on a lead and got a pre-qualification off of it. And he met with an agent, who had spent thousands of dollars on Zillow last year and had gotten no deals from it. And I think they spent $10. But the point of that is, right? It's that they're working the leads as a team and they're having appropriate expectations. So I think probably one of the biggest issues we see with this we call it the Zillow Killer, the ZK campaign. Look, guys, it's no secret. We run property listing or property ads, either towards a property or get a list of properties to the lead ads platform, and then we automate and follow up. Frankly, you can find our our ad copy on the internet. I was searching around the other day looking for some new ideas. I found our freaking ad. Another guy who sells how to do this stuff was breaking down our ad, showing exactly what our ad copy was and how to do it. But so much of the stuff is the same. But it's a matter of how you follow up with it, how you share it, what you do, the relationships you build with it. What do we always say, Fish? It's not about how many loans close off of the leads, that's how many doors they open. And when you kind of have that paradigm shift, what you'll find out is that those leads start to actually close. Because you're not freaking out about, holy crap, I spent, $30 on leads and no one's answered a phone call. Well, you know who has answered the phone call? The 10 real estate agents that you called up and said, hey, I'm killing it with leads right now. I know you're doing Zillow. How much are you spending on Zillow? Oh, you're spending $40 a lead. How would you like to spend $4 a lead? Type of thing, right? Those are the 10 people that have answered. So, but real quick, let me talk about this because I know we one of these days, Fisher, we want to have ourselves set up on a timer that's just want to shut off after 30 minutes. We'll be in mid-conversations, just want to shut off. Look, these first beginning, ZK type ads, they're so important to run for that first 4 to 6 weeks, no matter where you are, because that's how you're kind of getting your Facebook ads account warmed up, right? You're learning the ad copy, the images, the target audience in your area. Because guess what? What you're doing up in Novi is different than what we're doing here in Bel Air, right? It's comparable, but it's different. It's a different price point. Where I am, if I run only to women, my price points drop down because women respond to these ads at a much higher rate than men do. So we've tested that. Part of the reason why this ad account's so successful is I split tested 6 images, and I took the 4 lowest performing ones and turned them off after 72 hours. So, but you're learning your ads account and what's important and what you need to get your costs down to something that you're comfortable with. I'm talking about leads that are less than $1, Fish. That's unrealistic. We just happen to be on a freaking roll right now. It's like P90X, right? Mm-hmm. Results aren't typical. Mm-hmm. Unless you're Jay. Unless you're Jay, then results are typical because you're just like a jacked up Marine type of thing.
Well, I mean, I think you brought up a good point though, and with the split testing and bouncing ideas off of other people in the group, and it's that concept that we say this all the time about emails. I mean, there isn't a magic email. Same thing on ads. There's not necessarily a magic ad, and a lot of LOs opt for the done-for-you systems because of that, because they don't necessarily they think this stuff is too difficult to mess around with, and it's not worth their time. And we watch them spending $30, $40, $50, $60 a lead versus anywhere from $1 to $6 a lead because they really think it's going to take them so much time to learn to be good at this.
Let me tell you this, Cody Young, all right? Cody Young, remember that name. He's up in Massachusetts. We won't hold that against him. Fairly new LO, just joined Lola like 3 weeks ago. Ignored everything I said about ZK and building up your ads and figuring out your audience and all that kind of stuff. He's getting long-form leads right now, long-form leads, 10 questions being answered for less than $10 a lead. These are mortgage leads, right? How much does that cost if you're buying it on the secondary market? $50.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And he'll get those costs down. And he'll get those costs down as he builds up that ad account right there, and he gets comfortable with his audience, and he builds his brand a little bit. So, and it's funny, what we're doing and what we teach as far as these type of ads right here. It's a conversion. We're running a conversion ad. Okay, we're taking a certain pixel, we're putting it into a particular page, we're driving traffic to that page, we're telling Facebook's artificial intelligence where we want people to go. I had another marketer call me up the other day, and he was like, "Bro, you'll not believe what I bought this course and I just learned how to do this." And I'm like, "We've been doing that for 9 months, man." That's what you're so excited about. You just paid someone $5,000 to teach you that. I'm like, Christ, man, you could have joined the Leads Academy. You could have learned that shit for a fraction of that. But I think one of the cool things that you and I have been able to do is the fact that we're still active originators. We're in all this. This isn't our life, right? We don't make our living off of this. We're actively out there learning and implementing and sharing and having success and having failures every single day. We're not just guys who are saying, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
We're getting in there and look, all the on my Facebook public profile, all I do is post about successes. But we post about failures. We share failures too. Like, hey man, this campaign did not work. This campaign pulled $14 per lead. Probably not going to keep running that campaign. Right there, So, all right, real quick. I want to share two things with people while I'm thinking about it. The caffeine is cranking through my bloodstream right now. And I'm pissed off anyway at this fucking appraiser. So, I'm all kinds of, wound up right now. But look, you got to understand the difference between a Facebook ad and a Google lead. Okay, this is where most of these clowns that are out there, you're seeing them on your Facebook, newsfeed all the time. They're like, we're getting like all these crazy kind of responses and all this kind of stuff, right? Look, Facebook is a billboard, right? Someone doesn't go onto Facebook and type in, how do I get pre-qualified for a mortgage, right? They do not go onto Facebook and type in, what's the best homes for sale in Novi, Michigan, right? They don't. They're scrolling through, wondering what's going on. They're like, oh, I wonder how my ex-girlfriend looks today, right? I hope she put on some what? Oh, man. They're like, oh, she's pretty hot. Damn it. And they keep scrolling. Look at that clown right there. And then the guy's like, this for guns. This guy's against guns. What? Oh, houses for sale in Novi for this. Should I click on that or not? There's no intent to that, right? You got to grab their attention. And you have to understand, you can do all kinds of targeting and try to get people who are potentially interested in that billboard, but it's still just a billboard. So that type of lead is always going to have a lower conversion ratio than, say, an intent lead, which is what I call a Google and AdWords lead, right? Which is someone saying, how do I get pre-qualified for a mortgage or first-time home buyer programs in Baltimore, Maryland? That's intent lead. So with Facebook, that's why it's so important to keep your costs down, because they're billboard leads. You're going to have a higher volume of leads in order to turn them into actual ROI that we were talking about in the beginning.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? I know.
Absolutely.
I kind of went off on a tangent right there.
No.
I've been seeing a lot of this stuff lately of these guys. It's in my newsfeed all the time, and they're talking about their 25% closing ratios, and other guys are talking about how they're building $300 million mortgage businesses, and we're filling up call centers, and people are buying Ferraris based off of our stuff. And it's just not true.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
Well, that leads to one of the questions I think that came in from Ryan. Ryan's been in LOA, and Ryan does a good job with video marketing, and he follows some of the strategies that we talk about with Listing Booster. He's asking, I know we're talking about Facebook leads here, but he's asking, hey, am I wrong to say that creating a database and then targeting people within that database, isn't that effective or is not necessarily the name of the game? And, what we're talking about in Leads Academy is just putting all these pieces together. So if you've got a database, you can use that database to run additional ads to, and you're going to find that if it's a database that you've generated from Listing Booster opt-ins, or what TJ calls and what Facebook calls a lookalike audience, that can be one of your best or lowest cost lead sources, because you've already got an audience of people that's clicking and looking and searching, and then you kind of expand that audience, or you stay in front of people who already know, like, and trust you with additional offers. Absolutely, that's highly effective marketing.
Right, you want to do that. And, what's traditional? Who cares about video marketing and Facebook ads, and marketing's marketing, right?
Yep.
So, when I did direct mail, which I did for a long time very effectively, what we called the number 3 letter was our most effective letter. We got our highest response ratios off the number 3 letter, because that was the third letter that went out over the course of 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And it was the simplest letter too. It was, basically just reach out to you a couple times, let us know how interested you are, and blah, 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 that type of thing.
Yep.
I worked for a company who did that, and we would get excited when that letter would go out, because we're like, okay, our phones are going to blow up. So, the more consistent you have your message, to somebody, and going back and Ryan's big into video marketing and stuff like that. So Ryan, what I would do is I'd be running a video views ad campaign for yourself. Just kind of branding yourself, branding your real estate agents, talking about real estate topics, mortgage topics, whatever the case may be, and then retargeting the people who watch those campaigns with the true, or whether it's 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100% of your video. I'd do probably 25% of that, and retargeting them with an actual offer, something with a call to action. Mm-hmm. And it might be a little bit of a higher cost per lead, but it's going to be a more effective lead. It's going to be, a higher converting lead, because these are people who spent a minute and a half watching your 3-minute video about mortgage rates going up and how the world is ending, because rates are going up and there's no inventory.
Well, and you brought up a good point. It's something we talked about. I always
bring up a good point, Fish.
A great point. It's that the brand building,
right.
And marketing has that component of sales to it. Like we always talk about being salespeople and following up with our leads multiple times, but that same concept applies to our marketing. Our audience, if they see our brand multiple times, we build recognition, and our cost per lead goes down, and it's easier for us to build databases and get people to reach out and all that stuff, because they become familiar with what we're doing. We talk about this a lot in boot camp, about how all these veterans reach out to these online quote unquote headset jockeys. It's because they see their name everywhere, they see their ads everywhere. They're constantly being barraged with the logos and the images.
Right. And then they're like, hey, Veterans United, man, they're going to take care of me. Type of thing. But speaking of boot camp, that's a great example, right? You guys really started driving boot camp 2 years ago, right? And trying to build it and build the brand. And I'm an admin on the boot camp Facebook page, so I get all the messages. I never respond to them, just like I do with every other Facebook page that I'm an admin of. That's why you're on every one of my pages, Fish, because you will respond. But now you guys have not only do you have loan officers, but you have veterans, and you have real estate agents who message boot camp, the boot camp page, asking for advice, because you built that brand. We
traded almost 50 leads in the instructor group last week.
Right.
Different people just trading leads back and forth from all over the country. And initially we spent a lot of money in ads. We did. Right. I was spending $400 or $500 a month for 4 or 5 months.
Right. But you built the brand, and it's the same concept, and you can do that locally, hyper locally. Ryan can do that. Just make sure Ryan has one video that he got in trouble for because he took his pants off in the video. So make sure you don't run that one. Type of thing. But it's
you've done that before. You've made a video with your suit coat on and you had shorts and
right.
I remember that.
But just I said, but you can build that brand hyper locally, and then when you're running your actual ad, your call to action ad, people are comfortable with who you are. The example I give locally around here, one of the big real estate agents, her husband was our local sportscaster for 30 years. Everybody knows her last name. So she's got great brand recognition, and look, and she's a great agent and bulldog, and runs a very successful business. But she almost has that unfair advantage because her husband already has that brand recognition built in for her. Once again, we're off topic, but all right, come on, a couple more questions real quick before we wrap this up, Fishy.
All right, so that was that's a question that people always ask. They try to understand how running ads for my LO page versus a capture page versus an agent page. How do I do this? Am I compliant? And
so your LO page, you've got to be compliant. That's got to be about building a brand, right?
Yep.
You got to be compliant. It's got to be about building a brand. Be very careful with what you run from your LO page. You want to keep it generic. You don't want to talk about rates. You don't want to have anything with APRs. Avoid all the trigger terms with that. But it's important, even if it's $1 a day or $2 a day, you run some type of video views ad or something, just getting your name out there locally. So, again, nothing original. We learned that. I learned that as part of the mortgage marketing animals 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. They called it ads that sucked. Like, you almost didn't want someone to click on it You just wanted to get it out there so people saw it.
Yeah, because you were paying for clicks at the time.
Right, at the time you're paying for
you wanted
clicks.
impressions. You didn't want clicks.
Yeah, so exactly. You put out an ad that you did not want people to click on, but you wanted people to see.
Yep.
It's kind of the same way right now, but we do it with video, right? So you get 1, 2, 3 cent views. Spend $1 or $2 a day. If you can't spend $60 a month building your brand, go work for Quicken, right?
Yeah, we have MLOs and MLO Net that are talking about how well that business page is working for them, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're building their brand so everybody in town and everybody local knows who they are. And then the follow-up calls.
You've got to be careful. Either get that review with your compliance department, or if you're not going to, if you want to roll the dice and not do it, to protect yourself. So if you're running real estate ads, if you're running leads for your real estate agents, stay RESPA compliant, right?
RESPA privacy policies, Facebook compliant.
Yep, CFP compliant, Facebook compliant, everybody compliant. Don't run that. As one of our Leads Academy members chose to run their ads as their lender name. Yep, the lead cost shot up because people are like, oh, great, look at this house. Oh, the lender, fuck that. They're going to go ahead and call me up and try to get my name, date of birth, social security number, fingerprint, blood type, etc. So you want to kind of do that. And then I would also kind of run more of a, what Fish has, which is, he has My South Lyon. That's not, that's not like a hardcore real estate group, right? At least it's not branded that way as a hardcore real estate group, but you built up this brand and this name where people from your area can be part of the group, right? And interact, but you run ads to that. People are like, oh yeah, absolutely. I want to know what's going on around town. And next thing you know, you've got 5,000 or 10,000 people who are paying attention to you once a day or twice a day or 3 or 4 times a week. And they know Fisher's the guy to go to about real estate, and his buddy Jerry is the guy to go to buy a house and all this kind of stuff. So
then you tie the page to the ad or the group, and your ads have multiple purposes. It's not always about just finding one key that fits all. And like you said, these guys are trying to fill call centers and buy Ferraris off of one ad copy. Well, everybody else is trying to learn the same thing. So eventually we all know that ad copy is not going to work. Everybody was using lead pages 4 years ago, and what happened? The lead shot up to $50 and people kept trying it, and it was a bad idea.
Right.
Until the lead costs came back down. So, we're doing stuff now that costs $1. I guarantee you guys in 2 or 3 years, that stuff's going to cost $20.
So, absolutely. You know why? Because this dumbass right here told like 5 of the guys that are in this niche last summer, I'm like, you guys are crazy. You should be fucking using lead ads. And now
I remember this conversation.
Right. God, it's so stupid.
But that's the last thing I want to bring up. And I know, you don't talk about it much publicly. Sometimes you do one-on-one, but you've reinvested a lot of the money that you've made from these programs into buying courses, into joining masterminds. Sometimes I'm like, dude, you bought another program? You bought yet another program? Like literally yesterday, oh, I just bought this, Fish. We both have logins. I'm like, dude, you just spent another $500. I mean, it's you have to do that to stay ahead of the curve in internet marketing. And that's what I want to get that message out, not to, to brag on you for how smart of a business person, but I want everybody who is in the LO world to understand, if you really want to dive into this and you think, you want to be the best, things constantly change. And you have to be willing to read articles, to go to other training, to pay attention to the Facebook training courses that are out there from Facebook itself. Because the only thing that's constant is that everything changes, and the simpler it gets, the more complex it gets. If it's too simple, a bunch of people run into that space and it gets very expensive. So
right, and that's what, like, we're still in the position now where we're still kind of ahead of the game with lead ads. And we've been doing it for a while, so we've gotten really good at it. But I can tell you, every single course that I buy, and I'm probably investing in about at least one a month, and just like you said, because I want to stay on top of things, right? I want to stay ahead of the game. I don't want us just regurgitating the same crap that everybody else is. That's what we've always tried to be different with LOA, and Internal Leads Academy, and you guys with Boot Camp. It's trying to stay ahead of the curve and provide this value to us, our industry, that where everyone else is trying to take advantage of us, we're trying to get out there and say, no, you can take advantage of me, but I want to make sure that everyone else that's in our circle is not being taken advantage of, type of thing. But everyone's on, I'm watching stuff again that we were doing a year ago, 2 years ago. I remember us first talking about with DJ, who's an awesome marketer, right? If you guys want to go done for you, talk to DJ. I'll tell you right now, talk to DJ. He's got he's got it down there, and there's very few people in this sphere that I trust as much as him. He's just a good, solid guy. But if you're going to do the DIY, I think we're a pretty good spot as well. But anyway, I joined this thing, and I'm like, Christ, man, I struck another $500 for somebody to tell me how to run my ad, type of thing. So this is going to fill up. So we're on to the next thing. What are we testing right now, Fish? We're getting back to AdWords. Where we're talking about intent. We started this off talking about billboard versus intent. Well, we're going back to intent right now, learning Google AdWords and testing Google AdWords so we can teach you, the loan officer, how to get out there and start generating, higher quality, higher value, intent-driven leads of people who are really coming to you and asking for help. Jason, our buddy Jason Yacovelli down there in I can't say it, I'm sorry, it's Riley, I know. My mid-Atlantic accent, always, I pronounce things incorrectly. But, he went, I'll tell you, he was really having a tough time. But he got hooked up with this company that does AdWords. And, he's, back up to over $1 million a month in purchase business based off of our Zillow Killer strategy and the Google AdWords and using both of them to build relationships. So we're going to start implementing that into the Leads Academy as well. So that's all I got, Hemi.
Yeah, well, what I want to add is that, we got this group of people that needed to really get that hot, raw, folks that are trying to buy in the next 30, 60, 90 days. And then we have folks that are already at a high level that are looking for something different. They already have a ton of clients in their database. They already have a good local brand, but, they need to know how to run ads. They need to know how to use a business page. They need to know how to be good at video marketing, because they're not staying in front of their audience. So, all this stuff is synergistic. You still have to learn how to use the ads manager if you're going to do video ads. And you still want to understand the concept of a video ad, even if the video ad is you running off your personal business page to your local community. It's okay. It doesn't have to be the Zillow Killer strategy. It can be Fish staying in front of the 6,000 people that follow his page, which, that's video marketing. Brian Stevens is good at that. He's got a great event going on. But at the end of the day, whatever you do, friends, pay attention to this stuff. Whether it's Facebook, maybe it'll bounce back to Google, maybe it'll go back and forth. But if you take your eyes off it, you're going to continue to lose market share to the people that do. And, I got nothing against the people that dial the phone all day. That's fantastic. But I keep hearing LOs talk about how nobody answers the phone and how they're trying to be different. And then I talk to other LOs that are having a lot of success with this stuff. And, whether they're in our program or not, it seems like that's the way the world is going, and that's why we do what we do. So,
yeah, look, I think that we completely went off topic, but anyone who's watched our stuff should know that's going to be the case. But I've never made a secret of it. I'm a core guy. I love the core. My buddy, Drew, who's from the core, I actually have him in MLO net, and he'll share some stuff every now and then, much to Michael's chagrin. But I am also not the guy who picks up the phone and is like, man, I got the best rates and the best service, and I'll buy you the best cup of coffee. But it's since we started implementing something as simple as the ZK strategy, those phone calls are a hell of a lot easier for me to make, right?
Right.
They are. They're a hell of a lot easier for me to make.
Those two combined are like the most powerful combination I've seen anywhere.
Yeah.
No question.
Yep. That's what I always say. I think if you take core structure in business building, you combine it with LOA, specifically the lead generation component and the marketing calendar. I really, really, truly believe that you can build, just really a bulletproof business as a loan officer. Maybe not a giant team doing that. You're not going to build a call center doing that, but as an individual loan officer, I really think you can take, the LOA marketing calendar and, some of the lead generation stuff that we touch on in LOA, and we really get deep in on Leads Academy, and then the different classes and presentations that we have in there for staying in front of your agents and build a bulletproof business right there. And look, dude, if you may not like this, but you have 100 agents. You can get in front of 100 agents in the next 2 months with those things. You get 2 deals a year from half of those agents. Have a damn good year, right?
I watched some of these guys in the program do a better job than you and I of it.
Oh, 100%.
I'm like, I'm sitting there going, wait a second, like, should be me doing this? But I'm on the phone talking to them, trying to help them. Then I'm watching.
I mean, some of these people start posting the results, and we're like, oh shit, like we're going dark on this post because these guys are crushing us. But anyway. So
like Matt Victoria hit me up over the weekend, and he's like, oh, I'm crushing it, and I'm using the Lola stuff, and I'm just like, yeah. He's like, you should be crushing it too. I'm like, well, my numbers aren't quite as good as yours,
right.
Matt. I mean,
we would be if we weren't spending 2 weeks out of the month working with this. But hey, look, all right, cool. So real quick, so for next week, I'm really pumped. I touched base with you on this a little bit earlier, but I want to share with everyone. So we've got a couple of the guys, or at least one of the guys, from a new service called Ava. Ava is very similar. It's a lead follow-up system from Agentology, similar to Agentology. It's not similar to it. You guys have heard about this.
Yep.
They're going to be hopping on with us talking about lead follow-up. Best demonstrated practices for lead follow-up, kind of what they do to go ahead and really, to get it, to maximize their contact and, how they go about doing it and different times and scripts and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm really excited about that because the biggest problem we see, right, with our Leads Academy members, Fish, is what? It's not generating the leads.
Yep.
Following up.
Follow-up.
Yep.
A few money. Yep.
Yeah, that's what Johnny Fowler kept hammering to us for years. We're like, whatever, Johnny. I
know. We love you, Johnny. Thank you for hammering that at our heads.
Right. Type of thing.
Build better systems for follow-up. That's important.
Yeah. So, it's but it is. The leads are worthless if you don't follow up with them.
Absolutely. So. Well, and that reminds me not to drag this on. I mean, this is what TJ and I do. If you don't know, we always do this. But I've got the guys, some of the guys from Lyon Desk who volunteered to come on and
excited about that as well.
Share information about the system, more geared towards understanding it as an LO for your real estate partners, because a lot of real estate agents are asking you as an LO what they should be doing for a CRM. I personally use Lyon Desk for leads that come in because I can teach an agent how to do it. So it's not the only CRM that I have, and I would keep it all. Even if I didn't use it full time, I would still keep it and use it a little bit, just because it's a good tool, I think, for agents. I think it's one of the best CRMs for an agent for the money. So those guys are going to come in and talk a little bit about how it works for agents, and then how some LOs are using it for their business and video marketing and text. I've got Andrew Paul coming to talk about, and this is going to be a great topic. He's going to talk about how, in his world, a lot of times extracting as much as you can from every relationship that you have is just as important as trying to build new relationships. And he and I talked a lot about this. I got him coming on a call, and then I got our first, I'm going to call this official. I know you hate it when I do this, but our first official regional MLO network meetup. It's going to be about 10 to 12 of us in Metro Detroit. If you're in and around Metro Detroit and you haven't confirmed, go ahead. But we're just going to share some food. We're going around the room. We're going to share different presentation topics. There's going to be, again, anywhere from 10 to 15 of us. I'd encourage you guys, if you want to set one up in your city, hit me up. I'll create an event page for you. I've had 2 or 3 people express interest already. But, we're just going to call this the MLO social hour. It's going to be about 2 hours. And I got people talking about, down payment assistance special programs, working open houses. We're all kind of abundance mentality, sharing concepts together.
And that's the key to this group, right?
What's that?
That's what's different from the other groups that we've had in the past, right? This is about abundance mentality. It's about sharing. It's about impacting the industry. It's about helping. Hi, who's that?
Oh yeah, it's an attorney. He's one of I referred a deal to him a few minutes ago.
It's about helping us as an industry grow and people get better and brand new loan officers succeed and veteran loan officers succeed and everybody succeed and none of this bullshit gang mentality, and all the other crazy shit that, that's, so I love what you're doing. We got to get one set up in Baltimore. because I can drive there.
Yeah, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to order the food. So you guys got to commit because we're going to do some really good Arabic food.
But cool. All right, so we got that. What else we got? Any more housekeeping before we wrap this up? I got to go.
Oh, you know what? Last piece of housekeeping. A lot of people message me and ask me into the side section of the group. We've got kind of group rules like, hey, don't spam us.
Don't freaking message people and try to commit fraud.
I know. We saw that for the record. It was a newer LO. He was super embarrassed. He apologized. He's still not left that in the group. But we handled it very politely behind the scenes and explained to him why it was potentially illegal and why it was a bad idea. But we always try to do that. I apologize for calling him an asshole. I was about 5 glasses of wine in at the time, and I was very mad. But there's group rules over there. There's some links to things like LOA, MMBC. If you want to sign up for Listing Booster, there's like an info button there. The folks with Brian and Frank have generously shared that with the MLO, and I think I talked about that once or twice in other calls. So if you go up to the sign up page,
free app in there. That's another
I think so, but yeah, at some point, Tings and I are going to maybe build an MLO network. Yeah.
And then look, guys. So Leads Academy, if anyone is interested in it, we're still under the old pricing model. It is going to be going up here. Fisher and I have a meeting about this, probably in about a week or so. At which point we do anticipate, the price increasing. If you want to know why, it's because the more people that join, the more it takes away from us doing our primary job. We want everyone to join, but we also have to term almost cap membership a little bit, right? We can't just it can't be where everyone can join, or we'll have to start hiring people to help us out.
We'll have to start doing high monthly fees, which we haven't done.
Right.
We can't help everybody for
we can't do that. So, all right, I got to go. So I'll talk to you guys later. Hit me up if anybody needs anything. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, guys.